All right, let's get right into it. This explainer is, well, it's a chilling one. This is a real-life story sent to us by a subscriber named Shivam from Ghaziabad, and it's a wild ride that blurs the line between a messy romance and what he claims is a terrifying paranormal conspiracy.
Just imagine that for a second. That's a direct quote from Shivam, describing what he started seeing night after night. So the question is, how on earth did he get to that point? To figure that out, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. So our story kicks off back in 2022, and it starts like so many do these days, right? A simple message on Instagram. But trust me, this was anything but an ordinary love story. What's just staggering here is the speed. I mean, look at this timeline. In just 1 month, they go from total strangers to talking about marriage. Shivam was completely open, telling her everything about his life, his family. But Shivanshi, she kept her own life a total mystery. It was this intense whirlwind romance that went from 0 to 100, and then, just as fast, it completely crashed and burned. Okay, so here's the first huge red flag. After she dumps him, calling him unstable, she somehow coincidentally runs into his family at a big event, and it's there she seems to realize, oh, they're actually quite wealthy. What happens the very next day? She's on the phone to Shivam, apologizing, wanting to get back together. He, of course, thinks this is his second chance at love. He has absolutely no idea what kind of trap was allegedly being set. And this, right here, is where the story takes a very sharp, very dark turn. We're moving out of a confusing relationship and into something else entirely. This is about the alleged trap of Vashikaran. On their very first meeting after getting back together, she hands him a bottle of water. He actually remembers it tasting off. Kind of strange. But he's so happy to see her, he just brushes it off. And then this becomes a pattern. She starts bringing him homemade food, always very specific things. And she starts taking little keepsakes, a few strands of his hair that fell out, his handkerchief. At the time, you'd think, oh, how sweet. But these weren't loving gestures. They were allegedly the tools for a powerful ritual.
And then, almost immediately, his life just starts to fall apart. First thing to go, his focus. He's going to college, but he can't study. Any ambition he had academically just evaporates.
Then, his actual perception of reality starts to twist. He tells his sister that no matter which girl he looks at, he sees Shivanshi's face. His entire world is, quite literally, becoming her. And finally, his spiritual foundation just crumbles. This was a guy who was pretty religious, but now, nothing. That entire part of his life was just gone, replaced by this singular, all-consuming obsession with her.
And this quote, wow, it just says it all. These are Shivam's own words. He felt like he had zero control, that his entire existence was just waiting for her to call, for her to give him a command. It was a complete and total psychological surrender.
Now, the big turning point in this whole nightmare came from a very unexpected place. His sister. She came to visit, saw how much he had changed, and she was about to blow the lid right off this entire thing. So Shivam finally opens up to his sister and shows her a picture of Shivanshi. But her reaction isn't happiness for him, it's pure horror. She drops a bombshell. She knows this woman. She reveals that Shivanshi is divorced, and even worse, that her entire family has a reputation for practicing black magic. And then she tells him this chilling story about their own cousin who married into that same family and basically became a living corpse, a shell of a man who just obeyed his wife. Sound familiar? But Shivam, completely enchanted, he just refuses to believe a word of it.
Seeing her brother so completely lost, so unwilling to listen to reason, Shivam's sister does something drastic. She takes Shivanshi's photograph and goes to a spiritual guru in Haridwar, desperate for help. And what she finds out is way more horrifying than she ever could have prepared for.
So let's just be clear about what we're talking about here. The guru takes one look and immediately identifies the weapon being used, Vashikaran. Now this isn't some simple curse. It's a very specific, very powerful tantric ritual. Its only purpose is total control, to bring someone completely under another person's will.
According to Shivam's sister, the details the guru gave her were, well, they were grotesque. That weird-tasting water? Allegedly, it was laced with burnt hair from Shivanshi's private parts and her bodily fluids. The food was enchanted to make the spell even stronger. And his handkerchief, his hair, they were being used every single day in rituals to spiritually attack him. And here's the kicker. This wasn't some amateur stuff. The guru said it was being performed by a professional Malvi, which made the spell incredibly powerful and almost impossible to break.
When his sister came back and told him all of this, something inside Shivam finally broke through the fog.
The sheer horror of what had allegedly been done to him triggered a brutal life-or-death fight for his own mind. The second he became aware of the curse, it's like his body just gave up. He could barely swallow food or water. Sleep was completely out of the question. And that's when the entity showed up, that black, human-shaped shadow, just sitting in a chair in his room, watching him, every single night. He started fighting back the only way he knew how. He started praying, but whenever he did, he would hear these disembodied voices whispering right behind him, ordering him to stop, telling him to get out, trying to pull him away from his only line of defense. It was literally a spiritual war being waged for a soul.
Now, he fought hard, and he did eventually break up with Shivanshi. For a couple of years, things actually quieted down, but then, in 2024, the attacks started up again. His sister went back to the guru, and this time, the final, most shocking piece of the entire puzzle was revealed.
The guru realized something was off. Shivanshi and her family, they couldn't be working alone. The reason Shivam was targeted wasn't random at all. The real masterminds of this whole conspiracy were much, much closer to home.
And here it is. The guru revealed that the people orchestrating this whole thing included his own family. His mother's brother, his own maternal uncle, and his maternal aunt were allegedly in on the plot from the very beginning. Shivanshi wasn't the mastermind. She was just the weapon they used.
And this is the moment the whole house of cards comes down. When they confronted the uncle, he allegedly confessed to everything. And not just the plot against Shivam. He admitted that they had used black magic to kill Shivam's father years ago, back in 2015, and that Shivam was next on their list.
So you see, in the end, this was never really about a toxic romance. It was about a deep, dark family feud, something that had been simmering with jealousy and betrayal for years, maybe even a generation. The whole love story was just the delivery system for an attack that was planned long before Shivam ever hit send on that first Instagram DM.
And that's where Shivam's story leaves us. Now, whether you believe in black magic or you see this as a story of horrifying psychological abuse and manipulation, it's a terrifying cautionary tale about how vulnerable we can all be. And it really leaves you with one big question to think about. How well do you really know the people you let into your life?